Good afternoon, my name is Khaled Jagat, and today I will be showing you how to capture your renewal information on the Data Reaper tool. To begin today's training, we will start with logging in. On your user guide that has been provided to you, you will notice that there is a URL that exists. If you follow that URL, you will be redirected to the page that you currently see. You will then put in your email address and use the default password that currently reflects on the user guide as well. Just a note that the letter after the capital W is actually a 0 and not a capital O. Just for information purposes, I am going to show you what happens if you do leave a space after your email address. This is a common problem that we find with users. Therefore, I am showing it to you. You will be thrown out an error saying that the email address is not found. So please ensure that there is no space after your email address has been put in. Once you've typed in the default password, please click on Continue. If you're logging in for the first time, you will be prompted to enter a new password. This is purely for security purposes. Once you've put in your own password, please click on Continue. If at any point you do require a password reset and system administrator confirms that this has been done, you must please use your email address and the default password when logging in. Please note that you will not be receiving an email password reset link as such. You will have to use the default password when you log in again after a password reset, and you will be then prompted to set your own password for security purposes. So once you've put in your own password, you will be redirected to an informational page. This page explains the importance of capturing the renewal information accurately in the Data Reaper tool. Once this information has been read, please click on the drop-down to choose a Data Reaper object. Currently, there is only one option on the drop-down, being Clients, so this must be chosen. So the Data Reaper entity dropdown will reflect the entities that you as a capturer have been given access to. For training purposes, I've only given myself access to one client. So on the dropdown, I will select the client. As soon as your client is chosen, the Data Reaper then opens. On the Data Reaper homepage, you will notice that the completed by field has your name in there. Your collection status will then reflect as not started, and your current entity would be the name of the entity that you're completing the questionnaire for. The instructions section opens automatically. It is very important that the instructions are read carefully and understood. Once the instructions have been read, please click on the I accept that I have read and understood the above instructions checkbox. Please note that if this checkbox is not ticked, you will not be able to open any of the sections of the questionnaire. However, once it has been ticked, the instruction box then rolls up and closes, and you will be able then to open each section. Please take note of the due date. This is the date that your questionnaire is due. Your data reaper sections. You will notice that there are 8 sections. As you can see, each section has a number, has a title or name, has a status, and has the variance threshold. Please note that the Africa and South Africa questionnaires they were both created on the same configuration, and this then results in the questions in the questionnaire being the same. To open a section, you will click anywhere in line of that specific row for it to open. By that I mean you can click here and the section would open. You can click on the arrow and the section would open, or you can click in line with the variance threshold and it would open. You would then notice that each section has one or more subsections. As we can see, the premises section has 2 subsections, namely premises and vehicles per premises. To open a subsection, click anywhere in line of that specific row for it to open. You would then notice instructions. You would notice your 3 buttons. An export subsection to Excel. This allows you to export this entire subsection to Excel. You can refresh the subsection data. If for some reason you're completing your information and your internet freezes, you can refresh your subsection data just to check if your information has been loaded on correctly, or you can add a new item. So for example, if in the premises you had no premises information as prior information on the system, but now you want to add a new item, you can then click add a new item and put in your information. Please note that the red stars mean that these fields are compulsory, so these have to be completed. Once you've added your information, you can click on the Add button. You'll also notice that information that currently exists can be opened and edited. For example, we can use this row of information. If we click here, before I move on users, you will see that completed information will have a little tick on the side and a little cross if not completed. You can sort by this by clicking in this little area here. So for example, if you have 200 records under here and you're clicking to save the section, but then it throws out an error saying that one of these rows of information is not complete. And if all of your information actually reflects the ticks, you can click on here to actually bring up all the cross ones. And then you can note which ones have not been completed. So once you click on that row of information, it would open. There is a copy prior info to new button. If there was any prior information in these blocks, you can copy it over. Please note again that the red stars mean that these are compulsory fields and have to be completed. So I'm just going to, for example's sake, not complete these 2 fields and click on Save. You will see that a message comes up saying that these are required fields. You can complete those and click on Save. You will notice now that there is a tick box. You can then also sort a specific column. Any of these columns can be sorted alphabetically. For example, if we're looking at a type of building and want to sort this column alphabetically, we can click on that button and it would be sorted alphabetically. We can choose to show more entries than 10. The maximum is 100 entries. So let me just show you. For 10, it will look like that, and it will tell you showing 1 to 10 of 17 entries. Or we can choose to show all 50. And it's going to show 1 to 17 of the 17 entries. You can search for a specific type of premises in here. So if we just scroll down and look at Mont Prop, we can search in here. We can say Mont Prop, and this record would then come up. Once you've saved your information in this subsection, we can then go on to complete our information in the vehicles per premises. So we can see here all of the information has been completed. Once the information has been completed in both subsections under the specific section, you will then be able to click on this little checkbox here. Have you completed all the questions values that have been asked in the section? You can say yes. We know that we haven't completed all of the information under the premises subsection, and therefore we get this message saying that the following sections are not complete, and it will tell us which section. So we can say okay there. Once you start completing the sections, note that their statuses change accordingly. You will see that this section is in progress. The transmitter sites have been completed. So actually there's no information in here, so the system will allow you then to click the checkbox. I just want to show you another one like that. So if we have to go into PTS cover, you'll notice that there's no data available in the table. And if we choose not to add a new item, we can then click on the checkbox and the section becomes completed from in progress. Just want to show that to you again. So if it's not ticked, the section does show as in progress. And then once ticked, it does change to completed. Okay. So for example, I opened the fixed assets section and fixed assets subsection. You will notice that there are gray fields as such in the questionnaire. This actually means that they are calculated fields. If you have to hover over this at any point, you will see that the system does tell you this is a calculated field, and it will show a recalculated value after the record has been saved. Once all of your sections have been completed, you can at any point export your questionnaire to PDF, should you wish to. You can export your questionnaire to Excel. But once all of the sections have been completed, so once all of the statuses here show as completed, and these will only change to completed once the checkbox in the specific section has been ticked, you will then be able to submit for approval. So at the moment, you can see we have in progress, completed, and not started statuses on our sections. Therefore, the submit for approval button isn't available. But once all of them show as completed, you will be able to submit for approval. So once you submit for approval, the questionnaire then becomes locked. You will not be able to make any further changes, and the collection status then changes to submitted for approval. I do know that there is, I think, a 2-level approval that happens. So once the capturer sends the questionnaire for approval, it would go to the first approver, and once the first approver is done approving, it would go through to the second approver. So at any point, should the approver want changes on the system, the capturer can come back into the questionnaire. Once you've clicked on the Submit for Approval button, this button actually becomes a recall button. And should your approver then want any changes made, you as a capturer will be able to log back in and recall this questionnaire. So once you recall the questionnaire then becomes available for you to make any further changes. Once you've made the changes, you will have to follow the normal process of submitting for approval again, and the questionnaire becomes locked again, and the collection status will change accordingly. And I think that's it from my side. Should any of you require any further information, please speak to the people in charge. I think it is Zelda and Thayalin at MultiChoice, and they would then be in contact with AON, who will then refer any queries through to us at Thrive. Thank you, and I hope this is an easy process for you to follow.